very first ever episode of the Finding the Meaning of Life podcast. Am I going to tell you directly what the meaning of life is? No, because I have no idea what it is, and neither does anyone, because that is the biggest question that underpins our existence. But thank you for taking time out of your day to listen to some random lad you might not even know just ramble about his thoughts of life. But the objective of this podcast is I want to explore and dive into the different aspects of life that give us meaning and purpose. Like to discover and develop the mental and physical habits and changes that will give us a sense of excitement and hope. Hope that there will be a better future for all of us. You know, we live in a world that's struggling now, especially with mental health, especially in the younger generations, and there's got to be something and some things that we can do and apply to our lives to live a better, more fruitful life, not just to serve ourselves, but to serve others around us and build a better society for all of us. And that is something that I am very interested in, is the different stories, the different aspects, the different things that other people have come up with, and acting on those books, for example, and acting on it and seeing what works and what doesn't. And from my experience, I put myself through a lot of these trials to find out my purpose, find out my meaning. I thought I'd just share it with you. And I'm not a professional psychologist. I'm also not a university lecturer. I am a 23-year-old bloke from England who loves to learn and improve himself. That, I think, is my goal, is just become the very best version of myself as an individual. And I think that in order to live the best life, I need to help serve other people as opposed to just doing it for me. So that is one of the reasons why I've built this podcast, just to share my learnings with you. For a bit of a background, who I am, I lived a pretty normal middle-class upbringing, never really had to struggle. I had a good family, always cared for, the fridge was always full with food, you know. Lived a pretty standard life of a middle-class Englishman. And in turn, it's led to me feeling pretty lost. I had pretty low confidence, low motivation, low drive as I was younger. It's all because I never really had to overcome anything. I never really had any obstacles. I had a bit of a silver spoon in my mouth. Whatever I wanted, I'd have. You know, it's just the standard story, really. So I had no direction or any real drive. And then something changed. I read a book called David Goggins' Can't Hurt Me, and it struck a chord with me to a level that nothing else I've read before has really had an actual physical effect in my life. Sometimes we read books and we go, wow, that was good, that sounded really good, but we never apply those lessons. But this David Goggins book was the first book that I read where from the day that last page closed, probably not even the last page, probably first chapter, just got me actually moving. And that was when I discovered my love for ultramarathons. Since reading that book, it's 2024 now. So in that time, I've run over 10 ultramarathons. I've run multiple 24-hour events. I've run 52 miles in one go as my longest one. I believe that we find meaning in ultimate suffering and ultimate pain. And that is just one of the many aspects I want to kick on. So I find my best lessons through ultramarathons and putting myself through ridiculous physical struggle voluntarily. I'm also massively interested in philosophy. I love the Stoic philosophy for a main one. There's so many others that I love delving into. So that's going to be another thing. And also astrophysics, quantum mechanics, you know, how the universe works, how the laws of nature function, Big Bang, our meaning in the universe. What does it mean to be a finite being in an infinite universe? That is one of the greatest questions of life that I find so interesting. So there's going to be things, it's going to wrap in about physical fitness, mental fitness, philosophy, physics, astrophysics, space, quantum mechanics, our place in the universe. How can we find meaning, and what can we do to find meaning and purpose in our life in an infinite-sized universe, pretty much. And to start off, just to give a bit more context, really, of what this sort of podcast is I found a little story, a very small one, that most of you will probably know, but it just ties in nicely, right? The small stories magnify to the rest of our lives. So I literally don't, I actually have no idea how to pronounce this name or some of the names in this, but we're going to roll with it anyway. And I'm going to read it from a script, so it's going to sound a bit robotic, but I will speak this story and then I'll try and explain how I think it applies to our lives as well. Let's go. Many years ago lived a king named Sisyphus. Famed for his wit and defiance, Sisyphus believed he could outsmart even death itself. His cunning led him to cheat the grave twice. This upset Zeus, who decided a unique punishment was in order. Bound by the decree of the gods, Sisyphus was condemned to an eternal task. Each day, he was to push a colossal boulder up a steep hill. With every ounce of his strength, he struggled, veins bulging, breaths heavy with his effort. Yet, as fate would have it, each time the summit neared, the boulder would slip from his grasp, thundering back to the valley below. This cycle repeated, endless in its rhythm. To any onlooker, this punishment would seem the epitome of despair, a cruel jest played by the heavens above. Yet, as the ages passed, a transformation occurred not in the task, but in Sisyphus himself. With each descent to retrieve the boulder, a subtle shift took place. Where there was once resentment, a serene acceptance began to bloom. Sisyphus came to understand the boulder not as his curse, but as his companion in existence. In the rhythm of his toil, he found a constant, a purpose that was all his own. Each step became a testament to his resilience, each push a declaration of his will to endure. The hill, his arena, and the boulder, his challenge to be met with every single dawn. In this relentless cycle, Sisyphus discovered a profound truth that the essence of life lay in the struggle itself. As he placed his hands upon the rock, ready to begin anew, Sisyphus did so with a smile. For he had found meaning in the seemingly meaningless, a joy in the perpetual challenge. In the embrace of his internal task, Sisyphus found his peace, his defiance turning to acceptance, and his punishment to his greatest reward. And so, one must imagine Sisyphus happy, for in his unending ascent, he uncovered the secret to life. It is not in conquering the mountain that we find fulfillment, but in the climb itself. So yeah, what an unbelievable story about how it's not actually the end goal and the summits in our life that we need to find joy in, but it is the endurance and the struggle and the responsibilities that we must take every single day of our lives is what gives us meaning. I think that's an unbelievable story. So that's why I wanted to start this, because that's a big way that I like to live my life. I don't think that we should aim for this constant happiness and always have these big end goals at the end that I want to be this when I'm older. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a doctor. I want to build this business. And only will I be happy once I have those things. That's not how we need to look at life. We need to find the excitement and the meaning in the struggle, in the fact that you have picked the weights that you wish to pick in your life and carry them up the hill yourself. Whatever that weight is, whatever that hill is, you have voluntarily picked it up because you've decided that you carrying that will take the burden off of other people. We must serve other people, and we can only serve people by picking up our responsibilities and becoming the best versions of ourselves. If we want to change the world, we must start by changing ourselves. And I think that is a great start to this whole exploration, with that in mind, that the meaning of our lives isn't in an outcome. It is in the journey of development itself. The more weights in life that we decide to put on our shoulders and carry, the stronger we get and the more weights we can carry. That is where the meaning is, in the endurance of the struggle. And I think that's one of the massive reasons and drivers for me wanting to do ultramarathons, because it's almost symbolic to the rest of life. In an ultramarathon, you're out there for 24 hours, you're doing 100 miles, and you've got ups and downs. You're going to feel great one moment, you're going to feel tragic the other, but you still drive on no matter how you're feeling. And that is one of the best things that we can do as an individual, is to avoid taking action based on our emotions and on our feelings. We must do the things that we set out to do every single day, no matter how we feel. And we must do it selflessly with other people in mind, because only then can society be good. And yeah, Welcome to the Finding the Meaning of Life podcast. I'm going to try and do all of these podcasts in one take as well, because I don't really want to start chopping them up and down. One, obviously, it just saves so much time, but it also makes it way more authentic. For example, when I was reading that story, there are a bit of ums and ahs, and that's the sort of thing you can expect in this. So to start, yeah, they're probably just going to be 10, 20-minute episodes of me absolutely rambling and waffling, but about things that I find interesting and I hope that can help some other people along the way, because I will only speak about things that will help me. And I think that other people can find lessons in that as well. So I'm going to try and present them in an easy to use way. Maybe chuck some more stories in, whatever. We'll see. I'm not too sure, but we're just going to keep it rolling. But the objective of this is to help you, the listener, become the very best version of yourself. I spend a lot of my time in books, and I find I spend a lot of my time out there running on the road, where I can conclude my thoughts, I can really think things through, and I just want to share that in an easy to follow way for you, because that's what I enjoy doing. So thank you very much, and I hope to make many, many more of these, and eventually get some cool guests on. Who knows? We'll see what happens. It's just a fun little project, isn't it? Thank you.